All right, so we're going to do a quick review of graphing quadratic equations. So the first equation here is in vertex form, okay, where it's f of x equals a times the quantity of x minus h squared plus k. So I'll write that up here, and this should be familiar to you. All right, so our vertex is always the opposite of what we see inside the parentheses, exactly what we see outside. So this will be -3, +4. Our shape, you can see, is going to be different from the parent because it is half of what the parent is, so it's going to make it wide. Okay, anything that's a fraction makes it wide, or less than 1 makes it wide, and anything that is greater than 1 makes it narrow. Direction is going to be down because of the negative in front of the squared quantity, or the a value being negative, so it's going to be down. And our line of symmetry is always x equals. It's our vertical line that our parabola will fold over, and it's always the value of the vertex for the x, so x equals -3. Now, because it's going downward, okay, we are going to have a maximum value for the vertex. So a max, and that value is going to be the y, and it is 4, and that's right from our vertex. So everything from our vertex, very powerful. So now again, to graph this, we're going to go over to -3, 1, 2, 3, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put our vertex. Now, because on the parent we would go out 1, left or right, I'm going to use the right, and we would square 1 and go down 1. We're going to go half that amount this time, so right about here. We'd go out 2, and we'd square that and go 4, but now we're going to go half that amount, so we're going to go out 2 and 1, 2 down instead of 4 down. Use your symmetry for both sides, and you have a lovely parabola. Just try to hit those points a little bit better. It's kind of hard up here. All right, and there we go. All right, next problem now is not in vertex form. It's going to be in standard form. So standard equation is a little bit different. Our standard equation is in the form of f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so what we want to do is we need to pull off the a, b, and c right away. All right, so there's a 1 in front of our x squared. That's our a. There's a +2 or +2 in front of the x term. That's our b. And there's a -2 in front of our c. That's our c term, so that's a -2. So you pull those off right away. All right, in order to get the vertex of our graph, we're going to have to use the formula for the x value for the vertex, which is the opposite of b, or -b, over 2a. Okay, so we're going to do that work down here. All right, now our b value we said was 2, so this is going to be the x value for our vertex is going to be the opposite of what b was, which was 2, all over 2 times a, which was 1. So the x is going to be -2 over 2, which is -1. Now, to get the y value of our vertex, we're going to substitute that x into our f of x equation. So this is the next step. F of x equals, it's going to be x squared plus 2x minus 2, and we're going to substitute the -1 in there. So we're going to take f of -1, which is -1 squared plus 2 times -1 minus 2. Now here's where on the Desmos calculator, if you haven't watched it yet, you can go on and you can put this entire thing right here into your calculator as you've written it, and it will give you back an answer. But if you're working it by hand, f of -1, will equal -1 squared is 1. Okay, 2 times -1 is -2 minus 2. This is going to be -1 minus 2. So f of x, when f of -1 equals -3. So our vertex is, the x was -1, the y value was -3. So our vertex is -1, -3. And that's what we're going to use to graph. Now the other components that we need are what direction is it going, and it's going up because it's positive. Our line of symmetry can be taken right from our vertex, so it's going to be x equals -1. Because it's going upward, we're going to have a minimum value, and that value again is still our y from our vertex, so the minimum, and it's going to be a -3. The shape is the same as the parent because of the fact that the coefficient is 1 in front of x squared. It's the same. So now let's graph this. All right, so we've got to graph our vertex first, which is -1, -3, 1, 2, 3, right here. All right, and it's going up, and it's the same shape as the parent. So we move out 1 to the right, and we square and go up 1, and use symmetry on the left side. Move 2 from the vertex to the right, and square 2, and go 1, 2, 3, 4. Use symmetry, and you have a parabola. Okay, and here we go. And there you go. And that is how you graph a quadratic in standard form. All right, so let's do another one because, you know, not everything's going to look pretty just with plain old x squared. And so we have another one. Okay, here we go. All right, so third problem is going to be -2x squared plus 12x minus 10 equals y. So our a value is -2. Our b value is 12. And our c value is -10. All right, so the direction's down because it's a negative in front of this squared term. All right, our vertex is next. So our x for our vertex is going to be the opposite of b, all over 2 times the a value, which is -2. So it's going to be -12 over -4, which equals 3. All right, now to get the y value for our vertex, we're going to take our x value and we're going to plug it in to our equation. So we're going to do f of 3 equals -2 times 3 squared plus 12 times 3 minus 10. Again, you can take this on a scientific calculator you have home, or you can use the Desmos online scientific calculator, and you can type this whole thing in, and you'll get an answer to it. So you'll get your y, or in pieces, be -2 times 9 plus 36 minus 10, which is going to give us -18 plus 36 minus 10, which is going to give us 18 minus 10, which is going to give us 8. So our vertex is going to be 3, 8. All right, our line of symmetry is going to be x equals our vertex value of for x. Because it's going down, it's going to have a maximum value. And that maximum value is going to be the y value from our vertex. And the shape is going to be narrower than the parent because it's going twice as fast as the parent, but in a downward direction. So it's going to be narrow. So now all this information we have, so we can graph. All right, so vertex is at 3, 8. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 8 right here. Okay, parent, we would move 1 out and square it and go down 1, but this is saying go twice as fast, so go down 2. Parent would move out 2, square it and go down 1, 2, 3, 4, but this is going twice as fast, so we're going 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And use your symmetry. And you have a nice parabola. Again, you can check your parabola graph on Desmos.com and see if that matches yours. Okay, if it doesn't, take a look back and see that you have the right vertex and all that kind of thing. All right, and then we're going to do one more, and that's a pretty basic one that's going to throw you off, even though you guys are very good at graphing these, but all of a sudden it's like, whoa, look at that, it doesn't have a lot of stuff on it, you know? So f of x equals -1/2 x squared. So again, what we need is, if you don't recognize what the vertex is 0, 0, you're going to do this. A equals -1/2, B equals 0, and C equals 0, because there's nothing here. So the x vertex is the opposite of b over 2a. So it's the opposite of 0 over 2 times -1/2. Who cares about stinking fractions, right? 0 divided by anything is 0. So the x vertex is 0. And so now to get the y value, we're going to plug that 0 in to our equation. And we're going to find that this is also 0. So our vertex is 0, 0. Our direction is down because of the negative in front of the x squared. Our shape is going to be wide because of the fraction less than 1 in front of the x squared. And our line of symmetry is going to be x equals 0. It's the x value from your vertex. And our, because this is going downward, we're going to have a maximum value. And that value is the y value of your vertex. And that answers all those questions. And now we can graph. So 0, 0 is our vertex. We move out 1. Remember, you're going down. And we're going to square it and go down 1 for the parent, but this says go half. So approximately here. We go out 2. We square and go down 1, 2, 3, 4 for the parent, but this says go half, so we go down 2. And we are finished. And there is your parabola. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have any questions completing any of the work that I assign, please message me on OnCourse. Take a screenshot of either worksheet or online work that you are doing, and stop what you're doing so that your scores don't drop. And as soon as I get back to you, you can proceed again. Okay? Thank you, and good luck.